Hey everyone, it's Brooks Pritchett, your instructor again. I hope all of you are having a good week. I just wanted to make another video to wrap up this past week and give you an idea of where we're headed next week. There's quite a bit coming up, so just want to make sure we're all on the same page and y'all are following easily. I know it's kind of hard navigating an online course because you don't have that face-to-face contact. So hopefully this will help clarify a lot of what's coming up because I know you probably see a lot of those due dates and I don't want any of you panicking, worried about making sure you're getting everything done in time. This week I graded most of your nutrition calc reports, so hopefully I'll be done with those in the next couple of days. You guys did a really good job on those food and activity logs. I know it's a tedious project, but hopefully you found it beneficial in evaluating your own eating and exercise habits. Any feedback that I had, I did provide, so if you have any questions about your grade, please let me know. I graded pretty easy because I know keeping a food log is quite a task, and it's hard when you're trying to measure out portion sizes and selecting foods. But hopefully, again, hopefully it gave you a better idea of kind of where you stand relative to what's recommended for someone of your, age and activity level. Keep up with the discussions. There's two up right now, the nutrition facts label discussion and rate your hunger discussion. Make sure you at least have that initial post up and then you're at least replying to two of your classmates' threads by Sunday. Those are going to be due by Sunday at midnight. So I'm glad to get on there. I love seeing all of the different comments and feedback. So I'll start to chime in as well. So be on the lookout for that, and again in the next couple of days. Another thing that's due by Monday at midnight is going to be the Learn Smart reading for Chapter 3. You guys have been doing great staying on the ball with that, so just remember Chapter 3. I think a lot of you have already finished it anyway. Again, that's going to be due Sunday by midnight as well. Next week, there's quite a bit coming up. Your first test is actually going to be next week, and don't panic. It's not worth a big portion of your grade. Your tests are only worth 40 points. But again, your test is going to be available February the 11th through the 14th. You can take it anytime in that 72-hour window. It's going to be 25 multiple choice questions. And you'll have 50 minutes to take it. So I'll give you a little bit more of a heads up on that next week. But just to kind of let you know to plan accordingly, again, that's going to be February the 11th through the 14th. Right now, what I've got pulled up on the screen is actually the anticipated schedule with due dates and point values for all of your assignments. So again, I just wanted to highlight that on your discussions. Again, those initial posts were due February the 3rd, and then your replies are going to be due by February the 7th. I do want to point out too, there was no due date for the replies on the nutrition facts label discussion. That was my error, my apologies. But just make sure that you do reply to two of your classmates for that thread as well. If I scroll down here, just to show you, test number 1 is going to be available again February the 11th through the 14th, only worth 40 points, so it's not a huge portion of your grade. Scrolling down here just a little bit further, the due dates for each of the Learn Smart readings, it's typically, right now, it's going to be about a chapter a week, so again, just keep up with that. I did have the request from one of my students, that wanted to get ahead on some of the readings for future chapters. So those are now available, chapters 4 through 6, I believe. I made those available on Learn Smart, so if you want to get ahead. For test number 1, again, that's only going to be chapters 1 through 3, so just keep that in mind. And scrolling back up here on your anticipated schedule, again, those nutrition calc reports, those were due last week. And your portfolio assignment, that's the next thing that I wanted to go over in addition to your test that's next week as well. So your portfolio assignment, what that's going to involve is using your nutrition calc reports and evaluating your food and activity habits based on what's recommended, based on a lot of what is discussed in Chapter 2 regarding the dietary guidelines and MyPlate. So the instructions for the portfolio assignment assignment, if you come over here to content, and it's listed in module 1, so we'll come down here to module 1. And if you go towards the very bottom, the instructions are right down here. So again, just to highlight a couple things, you're basically going to be describing your usual intake. You know, how do you eat throughout the day? Do you skip meals? Do you eat most of your meals later on in the day? Do you eat really light breakfast? Do you snack a lot? Do you have a really erratic eating pattern because you're working shifts or you're eating in the middle of the night? Just tell me how you normally eat and be as specific as possible. Give me examples. Say, well, on Monday I find that I eat like this, and on Tuesday my schedule's totally different. List out those typical foods that you eat, and if it matches, you know, the basic food groups that are listed in My Plate and in the dietary guidelines. You know the major goals of the dietary guidelines, and just a little hint on that, it's on page 44 in your textbook. And with the dietary guidelines, they were actually updated just recently, and your text does not reflect that update. But for the purpose of this assignment and what we're going to use in this class are the 2010 dietary guidelines. The link to the new dietary guidelines for 2015 is listed in the syllabus. I'll show you where that is, or not in the syllabus, but here on D2L. I'll show you exactly where that is if you want to read through. But again, just going through, you know, discussing your usual habits relative to what's recommended. Maybe some of the challenges that you face. You know, it's hard eating healthy all the time. We're busy. You know, what's easy and convenient is not always the healthiest option. You know, we might grow up a certain way with certain food preferences. So there's a lot of barriers that we face. And then, you know, tell me what you learned. Did you find this assignment helpful? Did you find it tedious? With a lot of the other students, you know, hearing their feedback, and then also with a lot of the patients and clients that I've worked with, keeping a food and activity log is really, really helpful, and it's one of the best places to start when you want to make changes to your eating and exercise habits. And I think it's really cool that so many of you have nutrition and fitness related goals, whether that's just eating healthier, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you want to gain muscle. And so by learning about what you normally do, from there you can start to make changes to help you reach those goals. And hopefully throughout the course, you know, we in my face-to-face classes, you know, we have a lot of good discussions about some, you know, nutrition topics, and, you know, we'll talk about documentaries, you know, that you see on Netflix about food and weight and the state of our nation's health. And so when we do have discussions like that, I'm going to start trying to post them just so that you get more out of this class than just what's listed in the textbook, what you're supposed to eat, but kind of how it applies in the real world, because I think that's really important, and I definitely want to include all of you in those discussions as well. So again, I'll try and post those videos, and maybe even see if I can try recording portions of my face-to-face classes just so that you can, you know, feel like you're a part of that. Again, so that's portfolio assignment number 1. Your rough draft, not the final draft, just a rough draft, is going to be due February the 14th, so next Sunday. And again, you know, if you have any questions about, you know, writing papers, there's some good resources down here, you know, how to write great papers. Also, there's a rubric that's listed here showing you how you're going to be graded. And what you're going to do once you submit your rough draft, the next day, so by February the 15th, if we go back over here to the course schedule, you're actually going to we're actually going to do a peer review of your rough draft, and so you'll post it in the discussion board, and then 2 of your classmates are going to provide you feedback on your rough draft, and then your final draft is going to be due. Let me scroll down here so you can see it. So your rough draft is due February the 14th. post it on the discussion board by February the 15th, and then reply to 2 of your classmates' rough drafts by February the 17th. I know this is a lot of dates here, so hopefully you're following with me. Again, I'll go over this next week. Just focus on portfolio assignment number 1 now, but for those that kind of want to get an idea of what's coming up, that's all. Here's where I'll explain that for you. Again, so you'll reply to 2 of your classmates. Just provide them good, basic feedback. Make sure when you're providing feedback, just discuss the content of the paper instead of saying, well, this was spelled wrong, need a comma here, etc., etc. Make sure that they're hitting all of those main points, that their writing flows well. This is a writing intensive course, and here's where you can kind of see where a lot of that writing is coming into play. And then based on the feedback that you get from your classmates, you'll write a final draft, and that's going to be due February the 21st in the Dropbox. So I know that was a little confusing, but again, I'll clarify as we get closer and that time comes around when you're getting ready to start your peer reviews for your other classmates. Again, for next week and the next couple days, Learn Smart Reading number 3 is going to be due on Sunday. Finish all those replies to your classmates for the 2 discussions, Rate Your Hunger, as well as the nutrition facts label. Test number 1 is going to be next week as well. Again, more to come on that. I'll probably put another video up maybe Monday or so, or at least give you some more instructions as to what to really focus on this week. And please let me know if you do have any questions about anything. I know it seems like a lot as we really start to get into the semester, but hopefully you all are learning a lot and enjoying the class so far. I really liked chapter 2. I think there's some really good information on it. And if you need help studying for the test and, aside from just reading all the material and doing the readings and answering the questions, if you come over here to content, I think I may have pointed this out before. If you come down here to module 1, there's some worksheets in here that you can kind of fill in the blanks and kind of they'll kind of walk you through a lot of the material that's in the textbook, but they'll help you in studying as well. So take advantage of those. They're also under chapter 1 and 2 and 3. Also the objectives. There's also PowerPoint discussions available down here. So take a look at those to kind of refresh and help study the material. But again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Like I said, I try and answer my emails and my D2L messages pretty quickly. But like I said, hopefully you're enjoying the class so far, and I'll keep you posted on what's coming up next week. Y'all have a good weekend.